For the second time in a week, a local child has reportedly overdosed on fentanyl and needed Narcan to recover. Tonight, we look into the growing problem.
The Gonzaga-St. Mary's rivalry reunites tonight in the WCC Championship game. We're live from Las Vegas.
We have a changing weather pattern. Rain and mountain snow return tonight. We're tracking the possibility of snow later this week.
Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News at 5 tonight. I'm Mark Hanrahan.
Good to have you here. I'm Whitney Ward. Well, we do begin tonight with breaking news. The Mead School District is requesting federal intervention into what they call state-mandated gender-inclusive policies.
KREM 2's Laura Papetti live in the newsroom tonight with more on their request. Laura?
That's right. The Mead School Board sent these letters to U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi and Secretary of Education Linda McMahon. And in it, school board members essentially argue that Washington state policy is at odds with recent executive orders by President Trump. So Mead does want the feds now to intervene and give clarification. Mead argues that the State Office of Superintendent of Public Instruction's policies on gender conflict with new federal policies. So, for example, state policies mandate that public schools must allow students to use a bathroom that corresponds with their gender identity, and that schools must allow students to participate in athletics that correspond again with gender identity. Mead is arguing those policies, saying they conflict with federal directives, including President Trump's executive order titled Keeping Men Out of Women's Sports. At issue is state and federal funding. Mead argues if they follow state guidelines, they then risk losing federal funding. And if they follow new federal policy, they then risk state penalties. So they are calling on AG Bondi and Secretary McMahon to intervene and essentially clarify that federal law supersedes state mandates. Now, we did have an opportunity to talk with Mead School Board President Michael Cannon, and he said the state gave them deadlines to update certain non-discrimination policies. However, he said they don't need to pass policy they don't agree with, but he says rather they are in a waiting pattern to see the response from today's letters and get further clarification before determining what comes next. If you would like to read Mead's full letter, we have it posted right now on KREM.com. In the newsroom, Laura Papetti, KREM 2 News.
Laura, thank you very much. Meantime, the principal at Mead High School is resigning. This comes following an extensive investigation into hazing allegations involving the school's football team that we first broke on KREM 2 News. In its announcement, the district did not mention the investigation, saying only that Principal Kimberly Jensen is leaving to, quote, look for new career opportunities. She will remain in that role through the end of the school year.
Now, Jensen is one of several people named in a lawsuit filed by the family of a former Mead football player who said he was assaulted at a training camp. The head football coach was also fired as part of that investigation. Mead High School athletic director Troy Hughes will now take over as principal starting in July.
Well, tonight we are learning about yet another young child in Spokane County overdosing on fentanyl. Airway Heights police tell us another incident happened just last week.
KREM 2's Christian Garza is live at the Spokane Regional Health District tonight with more on what happened and also what health officials are saying about a growing problem. Christian?
Yeah, well, earlier this month, Airway Heights emergency crews responded to a call about an unresponsive 2-year-old. Now, when emergency crews first got there, they believed that the child was choking, but later found out that the child was exposed to fentanyl and had received Narcan. The child was later hospitalized and is expected to make a full recovery. Now, I spoke with local organizations who say that you don't need to be a drug user to have Narcan inside of your home. You should have Narcan inside of your home regardless, because you never know when these emergency situations are going to happen, like these most recent ones that involved children.
In our opinion, naloxone should be in everyone's first aid kit.
Naloxone, otherwise known as Narcan, has proven to be a life-saving drug even in just the last few weeks.
These things can happen and overdose can happen, so you should have naloxone now.
Mary Margaret Malone, the overdose review and response coordinator with the health district, says Narcan is being used more frequently, with close to 45% of all overdose cases in the county last year reporting naloxone being used before paramedics arrived.
If we destigmatize it, if we make it okay for people to ask for help, we'll be seeing this happen a lot less.
According to the Health District's opioid dashboard, since 2019, cases for opioid-related overdose deaths have grown from 40 to 250, and fentanyl is involved in 94% of those. Here is how to tell if someone is overdosing. First is unconsciousness. Next, look for a blue or pale tint to the face and fingernails, which means that those places in the body aren't getting enough oxygen. And finally, look for pinpoint pupils.
It is so important to have access to that Narcan because you never know whose life you can save.
Lucy Larson, the community advocacy director for the Race Rudine Foundation, says that's why the organization hopes to educate people not only about Narcan, but teach them about what they can do if they find themselves in that situation where they need to use it.
People should be aware of what is in our community and how it can affect everybody.
The health district hopes by destigmatizing Narcan, it will lead to more people having it inside of their house, which in turn will save more lives. For everybody to use, but it only affects those that are suffering from opioids. Now, you can get a box with 2 doses like this free from the health district's website. Now, I'm just going to demonstrate really quickly how to use it. So first and foremost, you're going to want to call 911 to make sure that paramedics can get to you as soon as possible. Next, you're going to take the packaging out. You're going to stick the end tip here into somebody's nostril, and then you're going to push this pink part so it releases the fluid inside of somebody's nose. Now, it should work fairly quickly, but if it doesn't, you should use the second dose inside of the box and wait for paramedics to arrive. In Spokane, Christian Garza, KREM 2 News.
All right, Christian, thank you very much. All right, let's take a break from the headlines to talk weather. Another pretty decent day across the region, but we could soon be seeing rain on the way.
All right, so Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Legoo says if it's not where you are now, it is coming.
Yeah, it's on the way, and I think it's moving in here in the next hour or so. That first wave, not anything worth canceling plans this evening. If you're going to go for a walk later on, still go on it. It's not going to be bad. And keep in mind, we have almost 2 more hours of daylight. How cool is that? We've got a little bit of cloud cover moving in on the leading edge of our atmospheric trough. And with that comes a couple of light showers. A lot more activity over in the southern panhandle. A lot of what you're seeing out in central Washington is not actually reaching the ground. Not until you get into the darkest green on your screen is that making its way all the way down. For us here in Spokane, looks to be right around sunset. We'll see a couple of light sprinkles. More widespread rain looks to move in overnight and take us into tomorrow morning. We wake up to soggy conditions and stay that way. It looks like the rain persists through much of the day, with some of it coming down a little bit harder later on in the evening. By the time we wake up Thursday, it does look like those snow levels start to drop. In fact, some, even as low as 2,500 feet, might see a couple of snowflakes mixed in. For us here in Spokane, that's rain this go round. Rain and snow, well, that returns Friday night and takes us into a weekend with more chances of rain and snow. So if you like this mild weather, enjoy it tomorrow. Despite the rain, we're going to be much warmer than we will be in the coming days.
Jeremy, thank you. And we're just getting started here at 5. Still ahead now, a live report from Las Vegas as the Zags get ready to play for the WCC Championship.
Also ahead tonight, news you need to know. A bill that would limit how much money rent can be raised in Washington each year has moved through the State House. We'll update you on the new rules it sets after the break.